I woke up this morning feeling like we were wasting opportunity to make money. Today, we changed that. In the first 9 months, we started funding building our farm with silage and a little bit of trees cutting down. And I think we learned a lot. Oh, we got a good amount of strawberries. We might get those sold today. I think we learned a lot about the difference between logging and making silage. It seemed like it didn't take as much of our time to make silage as it did to do the lumber work. Logging in general seems like it's more energy, so we could save energy by really focusing on making silage. The big reason why I'm starting to think through this is we're in debt. It shows that we have $9,500, but in reality, we have a lot of leases, and I really didn't want to get this many leases already, and we need other things. We need a baler soon. Our time has come to really push the limit, take advantage of all this land we have, and make a lot of money. So we're over here by our silo bunkers, or our homemade silo bunkers. I think it's time to invest a little bit of cash into a better setup that will work for us long term, and I think we need something that just holds more capacity. And then after that, we'll want to figure out a better solution for picking up grass. Is it a bigger forage wagon? Is it a different operation for when we cut and collect altogether? We need to research what technology is out there available for us to see what the most efficient way to cut grass, pick it up, and get it to the silo is going to be for us long term. So back to thinking about the bunker silo, we did talk to a company in town that could install one for us for a little over, I believe it was $12,000. So we need to get a little bit more cash because that's something we can't take a lease out on. We have to pay for the whole thing. And it's definitely what I want to do next. So that is what I want to invest my money on, is improving that operation. And hopefully the cleanup costs for getting rid of the other silo doesn't eat us as well, because we are going to want to utilize pretty much the same area. And when that, tip in there. But when that gets installed, we can kind of go over that and I'll show you everything in the plans. But as I said, it's going to be step one to a process that is going to take a little bit, but we're going to get way more efficient at it, to where it doesn't really feel like it's a big chore to do silage. Right now, with the way we're moving the silage around, it just takes forever. And oh man, it was like 15 trips last time back and forth with the little forage wagon that we have. So some bigger equipment is going to be required for that, but within our limitations of our playthrough here. Gonna head into town to sell the strawberries and see how close that gets us to the amount we're gonna need for the new bunker. Really want to focus on that, and then after that we can really fill it up with a ton of grass. We'll do it the current way we're working on it, but we'll fill it up with a ton of grass so that in November we can then make a lot of money that can start getting us out of debt, moving us a lot closer to where I need to be if I'm going to be the chicken empire of this county. So the supermarket here, we're going to see exactly where to sell these. I think they wanted us to drop them off in the back here, and they would tell us how much money they're going to give us for it after they weigh them and inspect them. So let's see how that goes. Wow. We got $2,203 plus a $188 subsidy from the government, so we're just under $12,000. And of course, we do have, whoa, dear, whoa. Oh man, that was close. We do have the leases to think about, so we have to have cash in hand at the end of the month, a couple $1,000s, I believe. I should know that. They're my payments, but we could go add them up. We're gonna go ahead and load up all the eggs that we have to get those sold as well. I know we don't have full pallets, but I think it's time to just see what kind of profit we're turning from the chickens, and we also need the money for buying the new bunker. And we're gonna pick up the eggs now. And while we're doing that, I'm kind of thinking we can't lose sight of the harvest that we have. We want to keep the fields progressing the way that they have been. We're making good progress on that, so we don't want to lose sight in that just because we're kind of switching our business approach to focus on silage for a little bit, because I really think focusing on silage for a month or maybe 6 months and getting more efficient at it, and maybe turning it into somewhat of a background operation that we can have some contractors do for us long term is just a great business opportunity for us. But as I getting carried away because I'm super excited about it, we do need to harvest the wheat because we need to keep the chickens fed. So that's something else we will be doing, and they're not going to be able to just deliver the bunker silo right away. So once we get the money, we'll make the payment for that. Actually, I think we'll do the order for that. We won't pay them until they install it. Just a company I've never worked with before, so I'll make sure that they're okay with that before. Maybe they'll need a small down payment. But yeah, we'll get these eggs going, and then after that, we'll hopefully have enough to order the silo. And then we'll do the wheat harvest and potentially treat the weeds in the new wheat field that's directly behind me right now. I believe there's probably, if we look back there, yeah, I can see a few weeds, so we'll have to get those taken care of. And that's the plans for the rest of the day. And we'll see what time it is to see if we can get a cut of grass in today as well. So, like I said, gonna prioritize silage, and that's why we're doing this right now, but we still got to keep the farm moving. And we're gonna head back over to the supermarket. It is also the best place to sell eggs. Now, I'm hoping this brings in enough money to cover bills and the silo. If not, we're gonna be cutting down some trees. That's a pleasant surprise. $4,700 and a subsidy from the government of $401. Very nice. I'll make a phone call. We'll get that silo ordered, and then we'll jump in the harvester when we get back and start working on the wheat harvest. We forgot about honey. We'll let that build up a little bit more before we sell it. We gotta remember our bees. So it's time to get going on the harvest here. Let's get this lowered and turned on, and we want to pull the lever that enables straw. That's another source of income we're gonna have here, because these type of crops do produce straw. We can then bale those up and get them sold as well for just extra money for making wheat. We're making chicken feed, and we're also have another extra product to sell. It looks like it's dropping pretty inconsistently with this harvester. I'm hoping that's not a sign of what's to come with it, but most likely all of this wheat's gonna be saved for the chickens, and we'll fill up. Gosh, we need something. Just thinking this through, we're gonna struggle here. We need a cart. We need something to hold this wheat, because we can't just put all of it in the big silo or the big chicken coop. We're gonna need to save some to feed the smaller chicken coop, because it doesn't have a large capacity. We'll think that through, but in the meantime, we're going to at least get this hopper full before we figure out if we need a different grain cart, because we don't want to just tip it on the ground if we put it in the truck, and I can't keep the truck occupied as our silo. We're gonna have to look around for a company that has silos, because we have no means to store grain. All right, let's get this harvest going. We'll think through it. Looking at how much we've cut so far, I think we're safe to unload it all in the truck while we keep thinking through exactly what we want to do. But I think what we'll do here, just to make sure the chickens are good, we're gonna go ahead and empty this completely. We'll fill up the 2 chicken buildings, the bigger chicken coops, and then the large chicken coop field, we'll put the rest of that in there, and that should get them set for the day while we keep pondering exactly how we want to store this. We're here at the first coop. Let's go ahead and back up and try not to hit any chickens and just get them topped off. Well, they took about 6 bushels there, a little more, and just about 2 bushels. That's curious. I think if we just back up right here, we should be able to drop off all 93 of these bushels. And one thing we're gonna have to think about here is we need a rooster. We want these to mate, so yeah, we're gonna have to buy a rooster. Now, taking a look in our tablet here that we have, our futuristic tablet in the old school world, this food isn't really, I would like to see this in the orange for them. See, this is full. We should have calculated by now whether our 20 chickens are gonna eat a day to figure out how many months that's gonna be. That would have been super important information to have. I guess I could go back and look at old videos, but I didn't document it, so I feel like that's cheating. I can see these are working towards puberty. These ones are working towards reproduction, so it'd be good to get that rooster in. Yes, we're role-playing that we're adding a rooster. I know it's not required in the game. But let's go ahead and head back and get this harvest finished. And I think we're going to need to find some type of cart. Maybe we'll buy another one like this one. Let me see if it shows like the capacity that it holds. This one we own. Little trailer doesn't show. Does it even hold it? Let's take a look. I guess we're gonna get sidetracked here. We could spend 3,500 on this, but that's a lot, and I don't know if that's considered old school. What did this one cost us? It doesn't say it holds that stuff, so that's problematic. This one here says it holds grain, but it turns it into a pallet? I don't understand that. One of these gravity wagons, I guess. Barge box. This might be the solution. Do we have enough? Oh man, it's gonna push us real close. How are these things producing so far? We don't have any more strawberries. Got plenty of water. That's gonna be close. We could just sell everything we have. And potentially, if we have, oh, no, because, okay, we still need this for moving pallets around until we get this paid off and we can turn it into a pallet truck. Okay, let's finish the harvest. I'll think through it. We need to keep going. Let's take a look at our map, because I feel like I might be forgetting something very important. Our field up here is barley. When is it gonna be ready to, oh, it's gonna be ready in November. We do not need to make any changes or any more purchases today. We're gonna be completely fine with having feed for the chickens. So let's go ahead and get this dropped off, and we'll see. I don't know if I'll be able to just directly give this to the chickens. Let's try that out. We do need to think about a silo, a grain silo, pretty soon. All right, let's see. Is it gonna let me? Is it gonna? It does. Okay, that's awesome. So we get all these 55 bushels put into here. And if we take a look, they should be good for a little bit. They should be good for a little bit. Want to do the math on this. We'll see in the morning how much that's dropped. 750. Those 20 chickens are pretty stable at this point. They should be eating about the same amount of food every day. So, okay. So now over here is in the orange, so not too bad. And that's gonna get full of 500 chickens, hopefully, you know, I don't know how long it'll take, but hopefully pretty quickly. And we don't have to buy any more chickens. Would be nice if we could just start moving them around to the bigger coops and all of that. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this all washed up, and I am gonna clean it up, and then we will move it over to the barley field so it's just ready in the morning, since we don't actually have a place to store it yet, because, you know, that's another reason why we want to be a lot more profitable, so I can start spending more cash on making this place look nice around here and not have all our equipment outside just kind of taking damage from the elements. I could try to put stuff in the barn, but it's just not super friendly with all those posts and everything. I can have what I want in there, and the rest of the stuff, it needs a shed. We need a shed. All right, we're gonna place this here, and we're gonna go probably have a lunch break and wait for that company to come with our new silo. Oh man, I wish I had my camera running. This process, they came in here with this huge truck, dropped this off. It was pre-built. Doesn't look very new though. We get a used piece of bunker silo? But this thing's huge, look at this. Oh, okay, I'm very satisfied with my purchase. Only thing left to really do, well, I need to take care of the chores around the farm first. So let's go ahead, we'll jump on the John Deere if we can find it. We'll get on the sprayer. Actually, let's use the Oliver. And now we have more strawberries. Oh, that bunker looks nice here. Looks like it's belonged the whole time. What are you running into? Are you kidding me? Oh, this is fun. So there's no way that's hitting on either side. That's why this barn is going away. The hitboxes on the mod could be the issue too, but you should be able to drive in the barn with a skinny little tractor. All right, sidetracked. This seems to be all the herbicide we have. If we need more, we can get it delivered or run to the store real quick, but this field should be easier to do than the last field, since we'll be able to see where we've been and where the weeds are. In worst case scenario, I can walk through this field and find some weeds that we might have missed. The other field, that was a little harder in the rye field. I felt like I was damaging the crops just driving in it in general, and walking around it wasn't any better. So I want to stay in that field as little as possible, and kind of interested to see how that crop's gonna turn out in general. But let's get the spraying done so we can start focusing on that silage operation. You know, we need to put fences up once we have money. I got lost trying to find the border. All right, let's lower this. We're gonna cut this grass here. And we're gonna try to stay, we know like basically to that forest is the boundary. So we're gonna go all the way up to the wheat field and we're gonna cut a large area here. We did talk previous episode about the productions going back here, or the larger chicken coops going in that area. We're not gonna be able to afford that for a good amount of time. The large chicken coop, I believe it was about 80 grand. And then we want multiples of those, but we also want to make sure that we have money set aside for when we want to start slaughtering the chickens and turning them into food other than eggs. So there'll come a time in the chicken's life when it's time to move on and it's not going to produce as many eggs as it once did, and we'll want to start cycling those. But you can see this is going to be pretty large, and I want to cut this, and then we're going to, you know, we woke up thinking we needed to be more profitable and we needed to take advantage of some of the learnings we've had over the year here. So we're going to build a pretty giant outline, and I'm probably going to regret it, but we're going to turn it into a grass field. And after, or once the time comes to get the larger coops over here, I think it'll just blend nicely. It'll be like a nice natural change to the terrain where we're just placing buildings basically on top of grass. And if I go at 180 degrees, I should go right to our border. We'll see how that works. That seemed to do the trick, you know, and kind of lost track of what I was talking about there. And by turning this into a proper grass field that we treat and lime and fertilize, that should in return give us a much better yield on our grass that we're turning into silage. Now that we have this nice outline cut out, we're going to cut the whole thing, pick it up, put it in the new silo bunker, and turn it, you know, turn that into silage. But we're gonna keep growing that as well. So a single pit, we're gonna have to do large harvests and have multiple grass fields, and it's going to be a change for us, but I really want to turn this into a more profitable business until the time comes that we don't need to do silage anymore because we're making enough money off chickens. So next time I see you, hopefully that silage pit is pretty full and it doesn't feel like a waste of money. I'm Socksway Up. I'll catch you on the next episode.